Welcome to the Breakfast Table. Today's episode is called Dreams Wrapped in a Korowai of Love, a story that spans continents, cultures, and the mysterious ways divine inspiration connects us all. I want to also touch on what's happening now, with the Feed the Need, how if things are still being measured. And
so Lori is actually, she's in a really an amazing position nationally to do with the Food in School program. So when she was talking earlier about that path leading to Feed the Need,
nutrition,
like she's still having like flashbacks to like, oh my gosh, Feed the Need prepared me for what I'm doing now. So like her role is pretty huge and her responsibility is pretty huge, and it's just
it was
amazing.
But then the government cut all our jobs, so
but you're still in
I'm
it.
still there.
Yeah,
I've still got
yeah.
my big mouth, so no, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so so that's what, but yeah, we can go into that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the little boy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me.
Yes, so we were at a school and this little boy came
It was
up
the
to
pilot
me.
school. It
Yes,
was a
it
pilot
was.
kiddo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he came up and said, "Are you two sisters?" And he was looking up and I kind of just giggled because I'm just like, well, obviously not.
We had a good laugh at
Yeah.
that, didn't we?
And then, but he stood there and we were kind of like, you know.
He's like, no, seriously, I'm asking
Yeah.
a serious question.
Yeah.
Like,
And so then I'm
stop
like
playing with
looking
me.
up and I'm like, oh, this is a serious question. Because we'd get like questions all the time. Like we'd have kids say to me like, why don't you have any eyebrows? And I'm like, so now I colour them in. But like just kind of cute stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, so I just thought it was just another one of those. But then I realised that he was being earnest in his question. Like he really was standing there waiting. And so I said, well, we're not sisters. But when we serve together, we feel like sisters. And it was funny because with that, he kind of was like, oh, and then ran off. And it was funny because it wasn't actually like that significance of that interaction didn't really hit me until years later, until I was here actually living in America. This one morning I woke up thinking about this interaction and I just felt like I need to write about this. There's a story in this that needs to be heard. And so it kind of took me by surprise because I hadn't really given it much thought until this particular morning. So I started putting it into my notes on my phone and then ended up blubbering my eyes out and really feeling like this is an important message that, if we could all act like we're brothers and sisters, that the children who are watching us very closely, how different the world would be if we actually did demonstrate how we should be treating one another. And then also it kind of highlighted the fact that, we are different. Lori's Maori, I'm English, Pākehā white. We've got lots of differences, different in cultures and so forth, but then, which is a beautiful thing, having those differences, and I think we should celebrate them. But then at the same time, to remember that actually we have more in common than we do differences, because actually we're all brothers and sisters and there's a loving God that's waiting for us after this life. And so I think that was another message that I felt like I was being taught as I was typing on my phone, blubbering my eyes out. And so that was eventually published. I never planned it. I just put it out on my family and friends' Facebook post, but then eventually it was kind of noted by somebody and put forward. And so then it was published. And so it definitely was a message that I think we still need to be reminded.
Yes, we do.
And I think children can teach us those simple things. And so, that's...
So when she told me this story, the first thing that I thought, of course he thinks you're sisters because children are looking at you from with spiritual eyes.
Yeah.
The veil is so much thinner for them than I feel like with adults we get it gets washed away with all the stresses of life, get a job, go to school, do all these things, and then we kind of get away from that. But then with children, they're so pure, and it's part of why Christ tells us to be like children, right? So because they're so pure, and it's just the way that they see things very differently. So I think when you told me that story, the first thing I thought, well, of course, he's looking at you with the spiritual eyes, and he just wants to confirm what he's seeing, and when you didn't respond in a way that was confirming to him, it was just like, well, are you?
Yeah.
You know, like, let me know so I can move on to my next play.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you know, let him know that, because even though he could see it and it didn't, obviously he can also see the differences too.
Yeah.
And that's why he's trying to like connect. And you explaining that to him was just a very perfect way to just let him know that, like, yes, I know we look different, but we are, you know, we're still sisters.
Yeah.
Again, I love that you wrote that down, and you said it has been published. Can you tell us where it was published in?
So it was published in the Leahona. And it was interesting because
And for those that don't know what the Leona is, it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints magazine. And so it went from a Facebook post.
Yeah.
Someone else saw it, and then someone asked if it could be published there,
Yeah.
because it was that beautiful and that meaningful, and it's something that we need to be reminded all the time.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes in society we tend to forget. We tend to, you know, just, oh, strangers, that's not my problem. But we are truly brothers and sisters in Christ, and we need to take that more seriously and live that way.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we would lay down our lives for our family. I think of I've got two younger sisters, and we can finish off each other's sentences. We will
Not sandwiches.
and sandwiches. I mean, I'm having a drink, and while I'm talking, my sister just grabs a drink out of her hand and she drinks it. You know, there's that closeness and that love that's there, which I think is what he would have seen. We love each other.
Yes.
And would do anything for each other as you do your brother or sister.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what he saw.
Yeah.
But a wonderful lesson, right?
Yeah.
That we, like, a stranger on the street is our brother or our sister.
Yeah.
And God expects us to show them the same kind of love and affection.
Brotherly, sisterly love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, one of the refugees that we work with, he's an interpreter, and he told me he has dreams. And I'm like, so I think God can reach everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
Whichever culture you're in.
Absolutely. And so for me, I remember thinking, you know, growing up, the scriptures always seem so like, oh, it's about those people at that time. And then one day I was like, well, what's wrong with us? Why would God not talk to us? Why would God not show his presence in our lives today? And when I was investigating our church, that was one of the things that was one of the realizations that I received was, if God spoke to Moses and spoke to all these other people in the New Testament, why would he just leave us?
Right.
And just make us wait for Jesus to come again? Like, he's still talking to us. He's still talking to us through Jesus. He's still here. Miracles still exist. I am a beneficiary of plenty of miracles in my life. I look back on my life and I can see his hand in so many different aspects of my life, that I am here for a reason. I'm sitting here with you guys for a reason. I know you didn't call me to say, hey, Esther, what do you think about this? No, there's all part of God's plan, and I truly believe in that. And we look back in the book that we wrote together. Just the story in that alone is just nothing but God's plan. His hand has been in every single part of it. And yes, we had to, write that book together just so we can sit here together and talk about something completely different.
Yeah.
So I know that dreams are a huge part of how God talks to his children. I know that if we allow ourselves to be vessels to do his work on this earth, that he will truly help and guide us through that. So culturally, I'm Nigerian. My culture is is deeply rooted in spirituality. Right before Christianity came, we were just very, very, I always believe like Africans are like, we just have such a close connection with spirituality and God, because even before Christianity, the way that we've always lived has always been like there was a higher being.
Yep.
And we all understood that. So growing up for me, I would grow up in a very Christian home. We had, preachers that would talk about dreams. I remember one dream in particular that one of them had for my sister, who is now a doctor in Ohio. The dream was that she would be wearing a white coat with pens in it. And to us at that time, that white coat meant that she would be a doctor, like she would be in the medical field. And that's exactly what she's doing right now in her life. So I remember that dream, even as a kid, like, you know, you hear things and you don't really, like, they're not talking to you. They're just talking. The adults are talking and the kids are just there. But I remember that always stood out to me. And part of that dream was the path for her to come to the United States. And I kind of came along with my sister to the United States. So to see her accomplish that dream and or help that dream come true, it's just been very impactful in my life. They didn't have a dream about me being a businesswoman, but it definitely had that about her. And it was definitely something that that even as a kid, I still remember, and I still remember it as clear as day till today. So I'm interested to know, like, culture-wise, how dreams are seen for the Maori people and how that impacted your life.
Yeah, like you, it is just the norm in our culture as Māori. Very spiritually rooted, a belief in the afterlife and that our ancestors are around us. They are influencing us, talking to us, come to us in dreams as well. But not everyone has them. In our family, it's a gift that's been passed down from God through the generations. And as I said, my sister has the same gift as my dad. And so it's just been a normal part of conversation. And even like those who don't have Christian beliefs, who are Māori, still there is still that belief in the afterlife, that life goes on, that our ancestors are connected to us. So there's a huge alignment with the gospel of Jesus Christ, our church. And that's always been natural and normal for someone to say, oh, you know, my auntie had a dream that this and that. Around the table at work, if I'm working in a Māori organisation, is just the norm. And so I particularly have been really blessed to have my father have that gift, and we've had warnings, guidance around our path and what we should be doing, and where we should be going. So, and my sister continues that with my dad having passed away. And like Carrie's got the same gift. We call it Matakite, which is the seeing eye, being able to perceive and see things that are spiritual, that, human physical eyes cannot see. And that is, that's been a real gift and real blessing for our family.
So let me just ask, having seen the same gift that your dad had and your sister has in Carrie, like, does that just blow your mind? Yeah,
because it's not something that I would talk to
non-Maori person about.
Particularly Caucasian, because it's not typically aligned
kosher,
to what their belief system often is. And so it was just buzzy for me to see, like, wow. So I think that's Dad's why he didn't say Pākehā. It was like the skinny Pākehā, like, not fitting the bill of who might typically have that gift. And so that it was just weird for me to have someone that wasn't brown that has those same experiences, just like my dad has, and feeling that kind of weight of responsibility that comes with that, that my father would carry as well. So it was it was really weird.
Well, there was one occasion where we were trying to get this kora to do the pilot. And so before we ended up going, the three of us, David said to me, I want you to share your dreams. And I had not
David,
her father.
Mm-hmm.
I had not shared my dreams like ever publicly. And so I was just like, that's not happening.
You're alone on this one.
Right.
There were lots of people at that
that
gathering too from this.
But you were in the right place though.
Well, it's
you were in the
interesting
right place.
It was that. So David said, well, pray about it. And then when I prayed about it, I'm like, you've got to share your dreams. And so I was super nervous. Lori was my little cheerleader on the side and saying it's going to be okay. But David stood up with his toko. We haven't actually talked about that. And was talking in his language. And then he said my name and gestured for me it was time to stand up.
Yeah.
And I remember it was so awkward because I'm like, hi, my name's Carrie Owen. But it was shifted when finally it was like, okay, just let go and go with it. And so once I started sharing my dreams, it was interesting. It was interesting for me as this white English girl who'd never publicly talked about my dreams to be in this situation. But what was very noticeable was that their expressions changed, their posture changed. They sat up and they were listening. Their eyes were locked on mine. And you could see some were crying. And it was in that moment where I was just like, David was right. I needed to share my dreams because otherwise it would just be like, hi, I'm Carrie Owen, sort of thing. But
I'm here to help.
Yeah. And so it was like, this is bigger. This is bigger, and trust in what I'm going to say, I guess. And they did. And it was, I write that experience in the book because I realized that this was a language, dreams, talking about dreams. It's a language that the Maori respect, trust. And so I think it was probably strange for them to have this English girl.
Their eyes wide open would have been, whoa.
Yeah.
How is she?
White girl is
right. How is she capable of doing that? I thought it was this our thing. Yeah.
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 And I remember at the end, the principal stood up and said, well, you've now adopted 183 children. And because we'd just adopted our daughter, we'd adopted our son a few years earlier, that was like, whoo, that was like extra special, but also that responsibility as well. Like, okay. Yeah.
It is, yeah. And I think for me, that gave you credibility because you're someone not of their culture coming in, and for us as Māori trying to regain our autonomy, to be able to make decisions for our own welfare and our own well-being, as opposed to that being being put on us and those decisions being made by a government or a community, a white community that doesn't understand the needs and how to do that. It's very, it's something that we as a community want to retain that autonomy to make decisions for ourselves and do things for ourselves. So having an outsider come in and say, I can help you, and it's like, no, we can help ourselves. Who do you think you are coming into our community? You sharing those dreams help them to see into you as a person, and help them to see your heart. Because I think of the connection that we had, and when I talk to friends who are Māori about our relationship, they're like, I'm like, it's kind of like she's a brown person trapped in a white body. That is how I feel. And it's, race aside, it's more like the values that we hold, the way, it's all about caring for other people. That is what drives you. It's not about anything else except the people. I mean, that's what you had at the end of your book as well. Yeah. It's always about the people. It's not any other kind of motive that's there. And that was really clear when you spoke. And so that allowed them to see into you and what was driving you.
It's funny because I kind of knew, although I hadn't been in this country that long, that I was worried that people would interpret my eagerness to help as like, who are you to come here? You know what I mean? I usually
say, don't try to be the white Jesus.
Yes.
And it's like there are people that have that sort of like, we're okay.
Yes.
And you didn't do that. And it takes me back to your dream where you asked, why me? Yeah. And the answer was because you have a good heart. Yeah. And that's what they saw that day.
That was David's dream.
Yeah.
That was his dream.
Because you have a good heart. And that's it. Not because you're white, not because you're blonde, not because you're blue-eyed, not because you're a skinny white girl. You're just, you have a good heart. And at the end of the day, that's what God sees and wants others to see. And you've gotten a chance to see that. And I saw that from the first time I met you. So thank you.
A little reserve nature.
Yes.
Jumping into being out of the comfort zone. I do feel like the charity work forces you to go out of your comfort zone for sure.
When you're sharing that story about Dad saying why does all this girl help, because she's got a good heart, and I was thinking, well, there are other things as well. That is the most important.
That's the most important.
But from what one of the gifts that Carrie has is that she is like a ridiculous advocate for children or for the vulnerable, right? People can walk all over her. She lets them do that because she's such a kind soul, right? And she won't stand up for herself a lot of the time, but boy, look out, because she is a fierce mama bear. And I've seen it. I'm like,
I saw glimpses in the video.
Oh my gosh, she's
like this
fierce mama bear.
When it gets here, it's not.
She'll share with me like how she had an experience with someone kind of attacking her and how she kind of freaked out. I'm like, bring that mama bear out, man! Like, hand it back to her. But that's not how she rolls. But in that space, just where it's about looking after those who are less fortunate, who are vulnerable, she's like, it's who you want on your side.
Absolutely.
And being able to persevere with that and just go at it has just been amazing to watch on the sidelines.
Well, I think we both advocate in our different areas, and obviously I moved here, and it was just kind of like the same sort of I had some dreams. And it was like, okay, time to keep going. I wanted that nap. I wanted that time out.
I know you did.
And
I just say it to make us feel better. I know it doesn't really exist. But in my mind, when I say it, it just makes me feel just a little bit better. Like, okay, I took that nap, but we persevere.
I don't think either of us have taken that nap, right? But so I kind of feel.
I was trying to take the nap.
So I'm like, okay, time to chill out.
And then my dad came to me in a dream.
That's right. Yes,
Wow.
you did have a dream.
Yeah, because I was kind of, I had an impression that I needed to step back from Feed the Need a couple of years after Carrie left. And it was really hard to do because it had been everything.
Yeah.
Like that had been I hadn't worked. Yeah, I hadn't really worked or anything. But it kind of led me into doing other work and, eventually ended up in the government, in the school food program that Jacinda, put in place. And so I was kind of just cruising in that role. And then my manager said to me, I would like you to apply for my job because I'm
Leaving.
I'm going into another position. And I'm like, I'm not doing your job. Because it's full time. I wanted to work part time. I need to be there for my kids and too much work. But Dad actually came to me in a dream. And I don't have dreams. Yeah. Obviously it was important. And basically said, pull up your socks, get off your butt and start leading and do some work. So I called her back and said, okay, I'll apply for it. And I've been in the thick of it within the actual government and the program, which has been an interesting experience. But yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. So I'm still involved with Feed the Need. So I'm sitting on the board still, but we've got a team of people now sort of on the ground doing their thing. And so we do food for weekends and school holidays when kids can't access that food. So there's still needs, even though there is this program, there's still going to be needs, definitely in the homes. If they haven't, they still might have those empty fridges and, empty cupboards. So that's Feed the Need still going. We were privileged to, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have a thing every Christmas, like the world, giving machines.
Yes.
Yes, so we have been able to, Feed the Need have been able to be on that giving machine for 2 years.
Okay.
So then we were able to kind of do some good work with that, which is awesome. And so, yeah, Feed the Need's still going. And then over here, I direct a charity called Reach Out Today. Again, Dreams have directed that. And, you know, both roles, everyone is voluntary based and no one's paid. And so it's just kind of doing the same thing, but very different. I'm meeting very different cultures. In New Zealand, I would say, you know, you have the Polynesian cultures and, you know, and we did have some children from different countries, but here working with the refugees, it's very diverse. And then families that are struggling financially, going into their homes and meeting them and learning about their cultures. And I feel like New Zealand was that almost like preparing for this part, you know. And so
I'm excited to see the next 10 years of Carrie's life and your life, because I feel like God is preparing you for a much, much bigger role. And whatever it is and wherever it takes you, I look forward to that, to be in the sideline, like cheering you on and making sure that you're not dwelling too much in those doubts and just keep going. One of your work that's very dear to me, and I have my assistant who's here who's been able to be a part of that because of what you've done. And when she saw our movie,
no way.
She was like, hey, what's Kevin doing there? I know Kevin. And so I know that you haven't got a chance to meet these kids that you've been a part of helping. And I just want you to know that one of them is in here today with us. And I do want you to meet her because she just wanted to chat with you and just thank you for doing that, to be able to have her be a beneficiary of such wonderful work. So I need you to understand that your work is going far and beyond, and it's touching lives all over. I may not be in New Zealand to see the kids in the schools there, but I know that your work that's extending here is being felt, and it's definitely being utilized in such a good way that Miss Nay over here is a participant in that. So thank you.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool. I want to jump across the table.
I know.
So special.
So study shows two-way communication with lucid dreamers during REM is possible, that participants answered math questions and followed prompts without waking. That's not reductive. It suggests God designed a brain capable of active awareness during dreaming.
Didn't know that.
Neuroscience also ties dreaming and spiritual practices to networks of self-awareness, emotions, a memory of a plausible channel for symbolic, personal messages that prompt real-world actions. Do these findings resonate with your experience? God meeting you in a state where heart and memory are especially open?
Yes.
The simplest possible. Absolutely, right?
Yeah. I knew when I was having those dreams that they were inspired dreams. It wasn't something that I'd kind of created in my mind. There was a Harvard professor that was in an interview, and he was talking, he's a professor of sleep at Harvard, and he was talking about a lot of the research they'd done with dreaming. And it really intrigued me because I had this sort of spiritual understanding of dreams, but I'd never had the scientific. And so it was really interesting just learning about how they have proved in their research that two strangers can experience the same dream. I'm like, whoa. They've actually,
You're like, that's me.
Yeah. They've actually had evidence that some people can see a vision of the future in their dreams, which I'm like, yeah, I dreamt of those children. I knew their faces, and when I met them, I knew that they were the ones. So that always, even to this day, sort of blows my mind. Just that, isn't that incredible that you can actually see people that you've never met before? So it's not just the mind playing tricks on you. It's definitely inspired, because how does that happen if there's not a divine power at work?
Power.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it was really interesting just hearing the scientific proof,
Yeah.
that these things can happen.
Right.
Just kind of it was like the icing on a cake for me, just kind of understanding that. And it also talked about if you're a light sleeper you're more likely to remember your dreams, and I'm a light sleeper. It even talked about if you've had hearing loss, you're more likely to have lucid dreams, and I'm deaf in the one ear. So it's just really sort of like intriguing and interesting, and it kind of like all made sense. And so
all the dots connected.
Yeah, and they do talk about how, you know, everything during the daytime, every like tissue box you see, every table, every person, every, you know, road sign, your brain is taking pictures of.
Yep.
And then when you're sleeping, you're processing. And I think that is the science behind dreaming. But this lucid dreaming is different. And yeah, definitely, you know, I feel it's the divine, you know.
You know, when you talked about meeting those, going to that school and speaking to the crowd and people crying because you were sharing your dream, I wonder if that little boy that you saw in your dream was in that crowd. I wonder if, like, you know, just somewhere he's able to hear and connect. Maybe he also had a dream, you know what I mean? And saw you and just, in some way, I would love to hear that connection later on in life.
So in that meeting that I was talking about, it was actually just to the school board.
Okay.
So I know the boy wasn't there, but the boy the first boy I met, is that the one you're referring to that came and sat next to me and stroked my face and told me he loved me? Is that
No, I haven't heard that story.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the first boy that I recognised with it was in a school in South Auckland, and he just kind of made a beeline for me and sat next to me, and just I was like trying to keep my emotions in check because I just couldn't believe that I was actually seeing him.
Yes.
And that it taken so long to find him, you know, and just this love that I had for him, and you know, if only he knew, like if I could just tell him the story. But it was interesting because it was like he recognized me. And that's
what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and
I'm pretty sure he had the same dream, and he just knew.
And he just was like, "Are you an angel?" And you know, "I love you." He said it first. I didn't say it first, and I'm like, he said it first. I should have said it first. But I think I was just kind of taken away with the whole thing, and it was actually after that we were driving home, and I'm like crying at the wheel, and Laurie's like, "Do you want me to take over driving?"
I'm fearing for my life here.
I'm fearing for my life.
But I remember trying to explain it at the time. I don't know if you remember it, but I was like,
yes, I do.
It's like we've laid down the foundation of a road.
Yeah.
And like we're driving on it, and it's like we're going forward. It didn't make any sense, but it just like everything kind of just was like, wow, we're actually now really doing the work. It had been years of trial and error and so what, but the fact that I'm seeing the first boy that I'd seen in my dreams, that was significant.
But
yeah,
it was kind of the pilot of multiple schools, right? And we only had enough money to do soup twice a week over 8 weeks, I think it was.
For the winter period, yeah.
And I was saying to her, let's just wait till we got more money so we can do it properly. And she said, no, we've got to do something. Yeah. And then that experience happened just from soup.
Yes.
Twice a week over 2 months.
Yeah.
Had a massive impact on this boy. And then we were like, wow, okay. Luckily you didn't listen to me on that one.
But I think that was the moment where it was just like, if all this work, all these years, all this effort was only for this one boy, it was worth it. And that was kind of like like even if we did nothing else, all that was worth it for this one boy. So it was a real spiritual experience. Yeah, real spiritual experience. And I hope one day I'll hit the adult.
Yeah.
Him. That would be pretty special.
That would be more in tune and able to vocalize what he saw as a child.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know. Yeah.
Let me know when that happens. I might be the podcast number 2 for this.
That would be amazing, actually.
The New Testament list gifts: Romans 12, 1 Corinthians 12, Ephesians 4. Prophecy appears repeatedly, spirit-given speech that builds up the people of God. Joel's promise, quoted in Acts 2, says, "Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints teachings on continuing revelation complements this. God still reveals many great and important things and invites members to seek personal direction for their stewardship. How have you both discerned and tested dreams, scripture, prayer, counsel, and fruits?
Oof. That's a deep one.
It is a deep one.
I expect deep answers only. Bare minimum.
I mean, I think the fruits one, looking back,
Yes.
you can see the fruits of those initial dreams that David had, I had, and then the impressions that Lori's had, and just how, following those has resulted in, children being reached, children being fed, but most importantly, children being loved and cared for by people in their community. So the fruits, I think, is just, seeing, we literally saw children so joyful, and excited about having the food in schools. So we were actually able to literally see the fruits of our labours. And so that's really what jumped out to me when you asked that question. I've kind of forgotten the rest.
It's
Me too,
okay.
I'm like, my listening comprehension isn't great.
It's okay. How have you both discerned and tested dreams, with scripture, prayer, counsel, and fruits? I think about like the confirmations that you get in terms of like testing to make sure that you're doing the right thing, by taking that step to speak to David, her father, and call him, feeling that impression when you drove through that, right?
Yeah.
That's like, and then actually reaching out, this is some random person calling you and just saying that, hey, I dreamt about you, what is that? You're actually taking that step. So that's being tested. You're testing to make sure you're in the right path. But most of all, you're following through and doing something so important. And it makes me also wonder, after looking back now, do you still have that same dream? Or is it different now? Like if you do dream, do you see those children, and are they like, what's the outlook? Or did that just end because you fulfill the job that you were supposed to do?
Yeah, I haven't had any more dreams about those children. I haven't had any sort of like seeing them in the future or anything like that. I think it was kind of like I needed those 3 dreams to do that work. And then, not that Feed the Need isn't doing anything, they are. It's still alleviating food insecurity. But I haven't had those same dreams to do with Feed the Need, the charity work there. I'd get new dreams. Yeah, it's kind of like, so when we moved here, I'd have new dreams that I'd see people's faces and see the work that needed to happen. And so, yeah, is that what you're asking?
I'm just, it seemed that when you had those dreams, until you took action, you continued to have those dreams.
Yeah.
But because you took action, it was almost like you could close that chapter for a certain time, because you've implemented the necessary work that needed to take care of the well-being of the children. Like you fulfilled God's request, right? To some, it's just for that, for now.
Yeah.
And maybe there will be another part where you'll see, but you've basically given someone else the torch to keep it going and implemented something that will keep going, long after we're gone, So I think that's just incredible.
I feel like, the latest dream that I did share with you, I could share right now.
Sure.
But I saw myself in a hospital, an old hospital building, and the walls were cracked, and it was very, very quiet. And I saw this woman nursing people, and the way she was like caring for these people was incredible. It was like I was being taught like how to really care for somebody, like at another level. And then this person turned around and it was Mother Teresa. And I literally was like, oh, it's Mother Teresa. like, and she said, I need your help. And then I felt bad because I was just watching her doing her thing. And then she walked over to me and she patted my arm and she said, you'll need these two things. And she handed me a towel and this jar. And when I looked down, it was labelled a balm of Gilead. And I remember thinking, okay, the towel makes sense because you're always using that when you're serving people. But this balm of Gilead, what did that mean? What? I've heard of it, but what does it mean? And then I was trying to make sense of it in my dream and then woke up. And then was just thinking, you know, got my phone out, Googling balm of Gilead. Went and told my husband, and that's when he said, why can't you just have normal drinks?
Matt.
Yeah. And then he was like trying to find stuff about the balm of Gilead. And I feel like it's a message. I think now it's like, now's the time to bring your faith to the table. Like when you're going out serving, using, you know, practical ways, using that towel. Also, like, you know, you can let those children in New Zealand know that this God had given you these dreams, that he knew them before you did. You can go into a home and just say, you know, the reason I'm doing this work is because I've had dreams that have motivated me to come and serve people like you, and let them know that there's a loving Heavenly Father.
Absolutely.
And that, you know, Jesus Christ came to earth and, you know, sacrificed his life for us. And so maybe like I'm meant to bring those into those everyday interactions when I'm serving people, because I've never done that. I've never brought my religion or my faith into anything. Like with those children, I never felt it was appropriate to say, I had a dream about you, you know. I've always kind of held back telling the recipients, and even like the young people in that transitional housing, just that love that I feel for them, even though I've not met them, but I'm going to meet one.
Yes, absolutely.
Like,
do you see that?
Yeah.
How God is working all this out?
Yeah. And how like that love that I feel is actually from Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ. And being, I suppose, like courageous enough just to let them know that it's not just, oh, there's this woman trying to be nice and do nice things. Like to be a little bit more confident and bold with the why.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was my latest one that I'm like, okay, right. Yeah.
Absolutely. Miss Lori.
It's funny. I don't, because I don't have that gift. My challenge is actually taking on that. Not counsel, but the direction that's provided by either my sister or my dad around, you know, certain things that they've been shown. And often it is very much like you're trying to interpret what the heck does this actually mean. And it's interesting because some in my family are kind of like, meh, you know, don't listen to that. But I've learnt just over the years that there's no reason why I shouldn't, like, you know, these things that have been shown, they've been shown for a reason. And so I see it as a real blessing to do that. But I know, even though it's hard sometimes, I get lots of warnings. Like my sister had a dream a few years ago. I had just finished reading this finance book, and I was on a mission, like, right, I'm going to do this, the finances, that. And she had a dream and shared it with me, which basically we interpreted it as, if you do that, it's going to cause real issues in your marriage. And there would be this distance between you and your husband. And so I thought, and I was like, what? This is really good for us. I know it is, but Looking back now, it was not the right timing for that, and we weren't prepared to take those steps financially. But we are now, and so we're kind of taking those steps now. But
Together.
but really grateful that my sister was able to share that with me because of that. And so the challenge for me, and it's not a challenge anymore, it used to be, is to take that on board and to be humble and know that, that's for a reason, and
It's for
I
a good
need
reason.
to follow that.
Yeah,
Can I add to that?
absolutely.
About Lori? Like, I remember Matt saying to me several times, I haven't had your dreams. Like, remember that. So, like, when things kind of are a little bit mucky, messy, difficult, I'm like, but it just is the way it is. We've just got to do it. Like, And then he's like, but I didn't have those dreams. Like, almost like I've got like this added bonus of being able to visualize what needs to happen. But then, like, Lori hadn't and Matt hadn't. And what I love about Lori is that, so for example, there was one story, we were just talking about it last night. There was this young boy that I'd seen in a dream, and that he was at this crossroads, and I felt like he was going to go down the wrong path. And in the night, I rang a mutual friend, Ricky. Well, no, I didn't ring him. I texted him, and I just said, listen, this lad, because Ricky had a really good relationship with the youth that were like involved in our kitchens.
He was running the
Amazing.
kitchen and was kind of like the mentor. Yeah.
Like, as the years progressed, the more children we had, we're like, okay, we need somebody in the kitchen. He was perfect. He was the right person because he just connected with these youth. And so I texted him. I said, you need to take him under your wing. You need to help him. Like, when he comes in this morning, like, you need to, because he's going to go down the wrong path. And then I get a call later from Lori, and she's just like, I've heard you've been dreaming again. But like, Lori is like, okay, right. And so the situation with this young lad, Lori made a decision based on that dream that I'd had. Because we were told, you need to let him go out of the kitchen. He's in trouble. Like, as in, like, he was in a second chance school, and they were saying, you need to kick him out of your program, But because of that dream that night, it was like, no, we're not going to kick him out. We need to hold on to him and give him that support. And so Laurie's really good. If I say, oh, I had a dream about this, the Joshua and Jericho thing, like, she's all in. She's all in, which is quite an amazing thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've been prepared for that with my dad.
Yes.
Right? Just like, no question asked, it's just get on with it.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Get on with it.
I've had dreams where you wake up and it's so vivid. It's so vivid that, like, I wake my husband up and I'm like, okay, so I just had a dream and blah, blah, blah. And then, like, as I'm telling him, I'm like, that sounds so weird. That sounds so weird. So go back to sleep. I'll just write it down. Because I don't want to forget it. And I have like my little, on my phone, and where I'll write them down.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it isn't so much that the dream makes sense, but it's the feeling that you have in that dream that is just like
real and intense.
It's really intense.
Yeah.
And I've had, everyone has a spouse, and your spouse gets on your nerves sometimes, and like they'll do things, but there's just something.
Really?
Never. But there's something about like my dreams that are constantly confirming the love that I have for my husband. And it's just, it is the most, I don't want to say weird, but in a very good way. Because every time I see him, like, I tell him all the time, like, I feel that feeling that I had when I first met you. Like, it's still there. And sometimes it's like weird because, like, how can that be? You know what I mean? But it's just like, it's just there. I don't know how to explain it. And I tell him, like, I just want to, like, fold you up in, in a little box and stick you in my pocket and just carry you everywhere. Like, that's how much I love you. And I don't know how to explain that love. And I'm so grateful for him. So one of the dreams that I had one time was like, I can't even remember the whole details of it, but the feeling that I had was like he was the voice of reason. Because he's always been the voice of reason for me. So my daughter, had a hard time getting pregnant with our last child. Ended up finding out I had a bunch of like health issues, and months into the pregnancy, first of all, it took forever to get pregnant. Months into the pregnancy with like diabetic issues, and then they're like, oh, we just found out that she's got a 3rd-degree heart block and she might not make it. So I'm just like, you know what? So I'm left the hospital bawling my eyes out, driving down Fort South, which is like a hill, coming down from the University of Utah. And I was just crying, and I called my husband, and I'm like, they said she has a 3rd-degree heart block and she might not make it. And he's like, okay. And they said that she'll need a pacemaker if she does make it. And I remember him just saying, okay, we'll get her a pacemaker. like so, like, matter of fact, like, it's no big deal. And I remember thinking like, huh. I guess we can get her a pacemaker. But more importantly, in that moment, what I felt was that this like assurity in like, we'll get her a pacemaker and then we'll just make it work. But it was like his willingness to walk with me.
Yeah.
And that confidence in like, you don't have anything to worry about, like, we're in this together, was that what I felt in that moment. And I don't know when I first heard the news, why it was like so traumatic and drastic that I was just like,
well, you were pregnant.
Yes, I was pregnant, and it took forever to get pregnant, and then it was
Emotions
just like this
are extreme.
Goodness gracious. But I remember just that little word, just that phrase, okay, we'll get her a pacemaker. And then like his voice was just like, and I'll go back to doing whatever I was doing. And I came home, and I remember receiving a blessing. His dad came over and I got a blessing. And in that moment, I felt the sense of calm. And I remember this, like, the Spirit whispering to me, like, there's no reason for you to stress, because stress just adds to whatever else will add to, like, the negative, negative thing in the pregnancy. So I remember just thinking, okay, we're not going to stress. We're in Utah. Utah has, like, one of the best hospitals for heart issues. And, like,
you're good.
I'm literally good. We've got good insurance. The job that I'm doing allows me to have free time to just, I would go sit in the hospital for months, and other people could run around and do the work that I needed to do. So you're good. And you have a spouse that's willing to do this with you. So why stress? So I remember going to the hospital a week later to, basically get my, all the checklists of what I need to do to go sit in the hospital for the next 3 months or so. And they're checking this little girl's heart. They're checking it. And they're taking forever. And I'm thinking, hey, I'm in my sweatpants. I'm ready to take notes and just go sit in the hospital. Like, why is it taking so long? And the tech goes, if I hadn't seen your file, I wouldn't know this was the same heart we were looking at.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, bring your boss over to talk to us, because I don't know, you might be seeing something different. Because we had taken her to the University of Utah, like the pediatrics there, the special whatever, the specialists to look, and they're the ones that found the 3rd-degree heart block, and it was something that was irreversible.
Right.
So when she said that, and then the doctor comes in, and she's like, I guess it was a fluke. And I was like, let's not play that game. You saw what you saw. The specialists confirmed what they saw. Studies have shown that this is what happens. Like, this is just the only path through. So I didn't say anything. I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait for the specialist to also. So we went back a few days later. The specialists, they looked through. They didn't see anything wrong with this girl's heart. Not even first, second, let alone the 3rd-degree heart block that they had diagnosed her with. Nothing.
Wow.
Her heart was perfectly normal, beating exactly how it's supposed to be. And I remember they were like, I guess I was like, listen, that was my God performing a miracle, okay? Because I had accepted this, and I had just basically, and I'm a firm believer of God will never give you more than you can handle. And in that moment here, I was like, oh, and my husband's like, okay, we'll get her a pacemaker. But that was God, like, just reminding me that if this is what God wants us to handle, he'll make a way. And I remember thinking like, Heavenly Father, because I was doing a research into what it took to have someone a 3rd-degree heart block, like what their life would be. And one of them was that they would be prone to heart attacks. And if they just got scared, they could have a heart attack. And I was like, well, Heavenly Father, she's going to be born into the wrong family because I have a husband who is always around the corner waiting to scare people, and a grandfather, his dad, who also does the same thing. And I was just thinking, well, this girl is who? These two grown men are going to have to unlearn the desire to scare people. And I was just like, okay, if this is what you feel like we're going to have to like deal, they're going to have to learn. And I just remember thinking like, well, Ben, this is my grandfather, my husband's dad, and Rich, you guys are going to have to like really learn to not scare people.
Turn it down.
Right? They will scare strangers. Like, so I give people like warnings when they come to my house, like, listen, my husband will scare you. I'm just giving you a heads up. So I don't know what your scare level is, but expect something. And then so here we were going to have this child that would have a heart attack every time she would get scared. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a rough, life. And so I think maybe Heavenly Father was like, Ben and Rich are not ready yet. They are not going to unlearn that.
Change,
They cannot change. So we're just going to take care of this so that she could just be born and not have to deal with that. But I was really grateful for that miracle. And I told people that I would always share this news, this miracle, because I think oftentimes we're so stuck on the scriptures being so far away for the people of that time that we fail to understand that we can also have dreams. We can also have visions. We can also interpret dreams. We can also receive miracles. We can also receive answers to our prayers with these kids that are dealing with, life of scarcity and feeling alone, that God can put people in their way, in their path to let them know that he hears them, he sees them, and he's always there for them. I can't remember what we were talking about. So we were talking about gifts. So when we talk about these gifts, like, what do you do with those when you have those dreams? Like, how can you capture it? How can you make it so that you don't forget, and especially when they're recurring like that? So what are some things that you do? And then Lori, let us know what kind of, you are on the receiving end when your father shares this with you. What do? You talked about being able to just listen, which is hard. So Carrie, start with what do you do when you have these dreams?
So I used to have a pen and paper next to my bed and would write down details of the dream when I got up in the night. But now I have my phone and I make sure before I go to bed that the light, the on the settings, the light is low.
Yes.
Then I'm like, and then I just put them in my notes. So then to make sure that, there's not one detail that I miss out. And even when I'm like sharing a story, I always think, even last night we were just talking, I was like, actually, I'll just read it from the notes because I never want to get it wrong. Yeah. Like I want to make sure that it's like, and even with this book, The Gift of Charity, there's experiences there that I shared with somebody else, and just making sure that they, it was the same for them. Like I'm getting it right, I'm not getting it wrong. So I think it's important to write down those details or, type the details to make sure that you don't forget. It's interesting though, because in my dreams, like I'll have like pictures coming to my mind, almost like, and also like a video almost that you're watching. That I never forget, but it's those, like if there's words that come into it, I need to make sure that I put those down. So you were talking earlier about feelings. Yeah, I definitely still remember the feelings and images that I saw, but sometimes the details I need to make sure that I write down. So if people are having dreams, I think that would be important to put a pen and paper or have your mobile phone ready, so in the night when you have the dreams, I have sometimes thought I'll remember this in the morning. And like I can remember things that I saw, but not always the words. And so I've learned that take a note while you can and then go back to sleep. Yeah.
And it's almost better because then you're not laying there thinking, okay, I have to think about this so I can remember it.
Yes.
Think about it. Then
and
you
I've
just stay
done
awake.
that. Yeah, it's so stupid. I'm like,
just write it out, get it out your head and move on. Yeah.
And then take the first step. Take a step. I always feel like there was a saying, do not suppress a good thought. So if the dream is something that is going to help somebody, help a people, that go with it. If it's going to do good, go with it. Yeah.
Now, Lori, being on the receiving end of other people's dreams and being prompted to act on that, how do you discern, what way to go?
Yeah, it's interesting because when my dad or my sister have had dreams about me or my family, often just the dialogue, like the call, and we'll have the discussion, and often they won't really know what it's about. So I'm, through that conversation that we have, I talk about, okay, it could mean these things are happening in my life at the moment. Maybe it could be this, maybe it could be that. So, for example, the dream that I shared about my sister seeing that distance between my husband and I, it wasn't straight up, it's about finances and what book you're reading. We kind of had to figure that out. She goes, she was saying, you were kind of like so hyper-focused on it, like nothing else, like full on. Is there anything you're totally like full on with at the moment? I said, yeah, I'm reading this book, and I've stayed up all night. I'm like, right, we're going to do this, that. Haven't talked to my husband about it yet, but I had our plan all set out. And so we kind of figured out through the dialogue that that's what it was about, and we both felt good about that. So often it's that dialogue that happens, and then even through the conversation, they'll remember, oh, I forgot there's this part to it as well that I forgot all about, and will bring other parts into it. So that, I think that dialogue, well, what I've experienced is really important if it's the dream is about someone else. But if you're not a dreamer like me, that's not a spiritual gift that I have that is really dominant, like with Carrie or my father. But at times I have had dreams or visions, and for some people it might seem strange because it's kind of like, is that real? Does that actually mean something? And so at the times where I have, it's good to just actually think, is there a message in here for me, and kind of work through it. What could this mean? Again, the dream I had when my dad came to me, he didn't say, you should take that job. I wish it was like that.
Yeah, same.
I'm like, why can't they just say it in black and white instead of just all this symbolic language and whatever? Like, and in the dream I had, it was my dad sitting up on the pulpit at church, and I was sitting to the side, like in the corner. And they were actually holding a welcome ceremony, Maori ceremony. They're called a porphyry in the chapel, which never happens. But I was kind of sitting to the side, and he was beckoning me, come up onto the pulpit where everyone can see. And I said, no, I'm good here. Then he got really angry. He stood up and he like stomped down all the way around, came to get me and was like, get over here. And
wow.
I stood up and I followed him, and I sat next to him up there. So it wasn't really clear, like it could mean anything, but I just thought, what's happening in my life at the moment that this could apply to? And I just thought, it's this role that has come up as a a leadership role, and that I didn't even want to do, because I thought, one, I haven't done anything like this for ages, and I don't want to be working full time. Thank you very much. Wow.
Dad's like,
Yes, you are. Get up and do it. So, for people who aren't dreamers like me, who don't often get that, where you have those feelings, like I was bawling my eyes out when I woke up. I knew it was important. And so take the time to just really think through, is this a message, a spiritual message from higher being, or from God, or from your ancestors who have passed on, just like the message that you got, and think, how does this relate to me now, and what guidance can that provide me?
I just wanted to add that at the end of the book, there was the most recent dream that I had with Lori's dad. He was dressed really smart and he looked really well, and he said, Hitangata, Hitangata, Hitangata. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
And that was it. And so I texted Lori in the morning, and I'm thinking, what does he mean? I knew it meant it is people, it is people, it is people. But I didn't know that there was this whole other part of this
Proverb.
declaration. Proverb.
It was a Māori proverb, common one.
And so she said, and another friend also commented on the similarity. And so I kind of really delved into that proverb. Like, what is it that I'm missing? What is it? Why does he come to me in this dream to say, it is people, it is people, it is people? Like, I know it's people. So it's just kind of like trying to make sense of it. You have to do the work as well. I think you have to be willing to do the work. And so, yeah, just kind of really spent a lot of time with this, understanding this proverb. And then really what stood out to me was just like how serving the one, well, I'll send you the proverb, but how serving the one has this knock-on effect for generations, past and future. And I'm like, whoa, that's deep. Okay, it's about serving the one. Like, so I don't know, it's just kind of like trying to take those dreams seriously and make sense of them. So kind of just following on what Lori was saying. You can cut that if you want.
Oh no, we will keep that in because that's wonderful. Carrie and Lori, your lives show that when we honor both scripture and culture, both signs and spirit, God's breath weaves us together. From Hangi with children to Korowai, mantles of service, from dreams at night to love in action by day, this is how heaven touches earth. May we all attend to our dreams, steward our gifts, and wrap our communities in a Korowai of love. Carrie and Lori, your lives show that when we honor both scripture and culture, both signs and spirit, God's breath weaves us together. From Hangi with children to Korowai mantles of service, from dreams at night to love in action by day, this is how heaven touches earth. May we all attend to our dreams, steward our gifts, and wrap our communities in a Korowai of love.
Whether we call it prophecy or matakite, wisdom or tohunga counsel, the test is love. Scripture says gifts are for the common good. Māori life calls it manaakitanga. Different names, one giver, serve.
In REM sleep, the most vivid dream stage, your brain processes memory and emotion. Researchers even talked with lucid dreamers during REM, getting correct answers without waking them. If the brain can pay attention while dreaming, no wonder it's a place where God can whisper assignments.
Thank you for joining me at the Broker's Table. If today's conversation inspired you, please subscribe, share, and leave a review. I'm Esther Jackson Stowell. Until next time, keep brokering faith, family, and freedom.